Hello and welcome to Her Drive. I'm honored to welcome Karen Bartholomew, founder of the Pause Method, a revolutionary coaching philosophy that empowers individuals to slow down, reflect deeply, and make bold, decisive moves that align with their truest selves. Karen is a master at helping women break free from the noisy narratives of hustle culture, reclaim their inner compass, and step confidently into leadership. So, without further ado, hello, Karen. Welcome to the Her Drive podcast.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm so excited about our conversation.
So am I. I say quite often, and I don't know where I self source this, and I'm pretty sure I did, but maybe not. But I always think about the pause and like God is in the pause, right? And so many times for myself, I'm rushing through life, or definitely in the past, and I wasn't really embracing what can be shifted when we do give ourselves a little bit of space. So I was really excited to see what your focus is for this particular conversation, and would love to dive into what inspired you to create the pause method, what it is, and really everything that goes along with it and how it helps people.
Yeah, so, my story, I was a single mom of three kids, raising them and kind of in this rut. I mean, I loved motherhood, loved my kids, been divorced twice. And I just kind of found myself just going through the motions all the time and just being exhausted, like constantly, like between working and taking care of kids and then, I realized that I was just doing a lot of what other people were telling me to do versus really trying to figure out who I was. Because when we leave, our parents' home, we go out into the world with everything that everybody else, put into our brains, right? And then we're like, well, we don't really know who we are because we're just living somebody else's life. And so I just got to the point where I just got sick of me. And someone asked me to take this personal development class in 2010, and I trusted him. And so I said yes. And those 3 days really changed my life to take me in to continue that work. And so I really got to see how I was, just through different exercises, how I was communicating, how I was playing life. And it was a real big awakening. And I got so much out of it that I actually continued that work, became a coach, then a coach of coaches. And I did that for about 10 years. Just watching people go from point A to point B and with really good daily coaching. And then I took that for myself and found myself kind of like taking a step back and going, okay, well, what do I want for myself? And really exploring about what triggered me and, not reacting as much. And so what happened was through that next, 10 years, I realized that I was really pausing. I heard the word pause before, but I wasn't sure, what it was or how it was impacting my life. And when I really decided to start my own coaching, because my kids said, stop coaching for other people, just do it for yourself. um,
Yeah.
your kids are like your biggest advocates. They kind of know when to tell you something. I realized that I wanted to teach other women how to take a pause and really take care of themselves, like the oxygen mask they ask you to put on when you're on an airplane, right? Put your oxygen mask on first so you can help others. I really wanted to help other women do that as well, since I was able to like really take that on and help myself. And so I realized that I could actually, create an acronym for pause and really help women go through that intentional course for 90 days. And we've just seen tremendous things happen in women's lives, and it just lights me up. So I'm like, I just keep going. So yeah, so it's a beautiful thing when you see women really start taking care of themselves. And
Yeah,
for me,
absolutely.
it literally started with me just taking a pause, walking to the mailbox, just taking a break from the mommyhood and going, I'm just going to walk to the mailbox and just clear my mind and have a moment for myself. And that's how it started. Because I lived on a hill and I was able to like walk all the way down and pick up the mail and come back.
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
then it turned into a pause in the kitchen, really, understanding what I needed for a couple hours to give myself nutrition to keep going so I could be the best version of myself for other people in those 2 hours, right? And then it turned into, oh, I was actually becoming, you know, um, uh, what do you call it, dehydrated. And I'm like, that was a norm for me. I didn't even know I was dehydrated because it was just my norm, right? Walking around dehydrated. So I had to like take a pause and figure out, how could I hydrate myself? and a water bottle wasn't going to do because I wouldn't pick the water bottle up to drink it. So I literally had to take a few more pauses to go, well, if I get a Yeti and I put a straw in it, then I'll drink like 3 of those. So it really takes time to really take a step back out of our busy lives of doing all the mommy things and the husband things and all the things that we do for so many other people, and really start taking an internal, pause to really figure out what we need, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and when I hear you mention the walk to the mailbox, the pause in the kitchen, I'm hearing like micro pause, right? Like it doesn't
Yeah.
have to last a very long time for you to get some clarity and recenter, it seems.
Yeah. So I think what I realize is that, the freedom is the space between something that triggers us and our response. Because human beings were very reactionary people. And so we just keep reacting and going, right? And so I really had to break that down. And I'm like, okay, so what's going on with me? Like whether I got upset or something just came up and I'm like, just an. And I'm like, instead of searching outside of myself to, to fix it or to like to bring something in to make me feel good about myself again, I wanted to explore what was going on. And
I
so it
see.
took me into this space of exploration for myself. Right. Um, and I just got to know me, the me that, the little baby that was born, the precious being. And at some point in time over are the years of our life, we stop thinking of ourselves as precious anymore. And so to take that back on and go, I want to find out that precious soul that I've been missing.
Yeah. Yeah, how beautiful. Well, I'm curious, you'd mentioned that you created an acronym for pause.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. So let me walk you through that. So the P stands for perceive, like recognizing the patterns that we are in and really having someone ask you the questions to bring that subconscious thinking out. Um, like if someone, has a story that their pattern is, they say they're a procrastinator, I'm a procrastinator. Well, if you say you're a procrastinator, you know, it's
Uh-huh.
like that word abracadabra. It's a great magician, right? Whatever you say is what will happen, right? So, but really to recognize, the patterns in your life, for me, it was the men that I ended up with, right? And I would say to myself, I'm not going to pick that type of person again. And then I pick that type of person again. Right. And I'm like, why do I keep picking the same person? Right. So
Yeah.
really having to like take a moment to go back and go really unwind and be able to find somebody to ask me the correct questions to go, oh, I know why, because that came from my past, right? Some message that I heard that I brought forward. So if my message is I pick men that are not emotionally available, well, then that's going to be what it is, because I always say, be careful what you say, right? Because as I speak, I create. And so if I'm saying that, then that's what I'm attracting, right? And so to really kind of recognize what that is, and then you can actually go from there. The A actually stands for acknowledgement. So accepting what is, like not like beating it to death, but going, okay, like when did that first happen in your life, right? And being able to go back and really kind of unravel. I'm like, oh, I remember when, right? Oh, okay, well that makes sense, right? And so what happens is we bring that forward and then we just kind of get stuck there because that's our conditioning.
Sure.
Okay. And so really, asking your really fully accepting that because there is evidence in the past of that, but is there evidence now?
Mm.
Is that who you are today? We tend to tell ourselves lies about things that we carried from our past forward. And really, lies are words and they turn into stories. And then we live by those stories, but we can change those stories. We can break
Yeah.
free of those stories, right?
Yeah.
So the question would be like, what story am I telling myself right now? And is it rooted really in truth or is it rooted in past conditioning? Right. And then just an awareness to like really want to step into freeing ourselves from that.
Mhm.
And then the U stands for unwind. So unwinding, just entangling and understanding it. I mean, I think I touched on it a little bit, but just going back and really understanding, what in this belief isn't true, right? What in this situation, what's this situation trying to teach me? The space between reaction and response. Um, you know, it's only really a problem if you say it's a problem, right? Same thing as be careful what you say. The shift is just reframing our story, right? And getting some help to be able to reframe that. And then obviously just to expand and to practice, to do the practice to keep it going. So, I mean, that's a quick, just, definition of the pause. But really, you know, it's just really embodying a new belief because, if I say I'm a procrastinator, then I will be a procrastinator. I will focus on procrastination. And then that's what will happen. Right. But if that's not really a truth, right, and it's just something that you heard or somebody told you when you were younger, right, then we don't need to live in that truth. And if we can let that go, it's like, it's exhausting to live in procrastination. But if we can really be free and let that go, right, like to live from a free space, that's a different way of living. That feels different. That's a different outcome, right? So different thinking, different beliefs, different feeling, different behaviors, different outcome. It all comes from right up here,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
and to
absolutely.
free ourselves from that. So
Yeah. So how you're talking a lot about like breaking free from false beliefs and old narratives and just
yeah,
imprints from the past that they're not necessarily true, right?
yeah.
What are some common ones you see specifically holding women back from leadership and self-fulfillment?
Um, so I think it's the fear of the unknown
Mm,
is what holds most women back.
yeah.
We're so busy taking care of everybody else. And so everything's fearful of the unknown, right? So we just stay in this, space, this mediocrity space, and we tell ourselves, oh, my life's okay. My life's good. Um, I think one of the biggest misconceptions about fear is that it's a stop sign when in reality, it's just a signal, right? Fear isn't telling you that you can't do something. It's just alerting us that that we're stepping into unfamiliar territory. And so I always say in uncertainty, there are tons of possibilities. We really don't know what's going to happen an hour from now, right? After we finish this talk, I have no idea. But if I put fear on top of it, then there's really no possibility. Then you're stuck, right? So I think it's the fear, that we see time and time again. I know I've seen it in my own life. It keeps me stuck. It keeps me from moving forward to all the dreams, and aspirations that I wanted. I mean, like I was told to stop dreaming at different times in my life, right? Oh, that's not being responsible. Well, our imagination is the best thing we have, right? To like dream and think about what we want and put baby steps into moving into that direction, such that we can manifest that. Um, so yeah, I think it's fear. I think it's just the fear that keeps us stuck. Most of
Yeah.
us from having the
Yeah.
life we really want to design and we really want.
Sure. Sure. I can certainly relate to that. And you talked about like manifesting and dreaming and being in that state of of the dream.
Mm-hmm.
And for those women who have shut down or dulled their dreaming function,
Mm-hmm.
um, what are some helpful steps that they can first take to start to reawaken that capacity for dreaming and then stepping into the action or actions oriented around moving around the fear, acknowledging the fear, and then taking the steps to move
Yeah.
forward.
I think the biggest thing is actually to really start taking some time to journal. Journaling is really great to kind of just put our thoughts down on paper. And also to find a safe space with one person or maybe a couple people, or just finding a space that you can really kind of start unwinding and like being really, vulnerable and authentic in what you're thinking and feeling. Most of us don't have that space for ourselves. I know
Yeah.
I didn't when I was younger. And
Hmm.
I believe that we all can find that. Sometimes it just takes going out in nature. I know my youngest daughter is a big nature person. So when
Hmm.
she's struggling with something, right, she like goes for a hike,
Yeah.
right? And so she kind of gets her mind, clear. And there's times that she'll sit down and she'll journal, about what she's thinking or what she really wants for her future.
Yeah.
So I really think it's about just taking some quiet time to really like get curious, right? About you. Get curious about what do I want, and who my true self. What is it that I really want to create? And you can do that married, kids, all kinds of things, right? Like I have a client that actually didn't real she was struggling for a lot of different things. And we went back into the timeline, which is one thing I do with a lot of my clients. We'll go back and do a timeline, and I just want them to sit down and write everything they remember from as far back as they can remember, with no judgment, no opinions, no nothing. Just jot it down, good, bad, and different. Um, and just take a look at it. And I did this myself years ago. And when I did that timeline, I realized like every 7 years something happened in my life. So it's kind of like a roller coaster. Like as children, we want to be, heard, seen, and held. And so I felt that, felt that, felt that. Then something happened, then I didn't feel it. And then I felt that, felt that, felt that, and then, I didn't feel it. And then I realized this. And then, of course, that same momentum happened in my adult life, relationships and then not, and then relate, and da, 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 da. And what I realized it was I was focused on everything outside of myself, right? Um, to make myself feel happy. When truly, if I just looked internally into myself, I really had all the love and support and acceptance that I needed. But we do need a community of people to actually have someone that will hear us with no judgment and just love and support us. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I give my clients is just a container to love and support them and let
Yeah.
them explore, right?
Hmm.
Um, just let them explore. One of my clients today, just before this call, just before being on with you, she said, I think that was one of the biggest things, Karen, that you gave me is like I was living in this box. Everybody kept keeping me in this little box. And one of the things that you said, you just let me explore my life until I busted out of that box. I said, because, I tell people, you're like, we're stuck in this little box and we have all these circumstances and that accumulate, and all these hurts and these fears and everything accumulates on top of us. And then we're just kind of stuck here. And if we can like go back and go, okay, so, why, what happened? Not like dig into it like it's a problem, just like, why, what did we hear? What did that happen? If you can start releasing that stuff, then all of a sudden your light starts shining again. Right.
Fully. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's when we can start really like getting creative about what we want to design for our life in the next chapter. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I also help a lot of women like declutter things, right? When you
Oh,
have
yeah.
clutter around you, right? Like you can't even think. Like I'm sure in your own life, just clutter when you decide you're gonna, purge your closet or, declutter your clothes or like give some things away. Or I know in my own life, my garage was my thing.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
open my garage at times and I would be like, nope, close the garage. I was just
Mhm.
overwhelmed. I'm going
Yep.
to go out and do it today. No, close the garage. When I really
Mhm.
had someone challenge me and go, okay, I want you to take care of that garage in 24 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I really had to get in there. And then
Mhm.
it was what I found was there was so much emotion from my divorce and the houses I
Yes.
sold and the kids stuff and all this stuff that I just didn't want to deal with. That was really me opening and closing the door. I
Yeah.
just went in and delve into it. And I had people stop by during the day to help me get through it. And I got through it. And I got my cars in the garage within 24 hours.
That's amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the things there. Like the clutter represents, as you mentioned, all these other sticky, stuck points within our energetic and emotional state and our history. And
Mhm.
it takes healing. It's healing to get rid of the things. And I love purging.
It's just the best.
I do, and the more I do, I'm like, oh, okay. At one point, I purged so much. I had piles, like massive piles of things in my
Love it.
kitchen space, and and then I donated it all within like a day or two, and then I started to panic. I was like, I got rid of so much stuff, like I don't know, a third of my closet, now I don't have any sweaters and winter's coming, you know? But it really felt good because there were a lot of energetics tied to past traumas and a relationship that was very harmful and just things that were no longer needed to be within my energetic space of reality. And when they were gone and I released them with love, right? Thank you and good luck. You're going to serve everyone else now. I was then able to make so much more room for expansion,
Yes.
right? Like that E in your pause, like let's grow, let's get bigger. What new amazing? I'll use shoes as an example. Like thank you shoes for carrying me on this journey. But now I get brand new shoes for a whole
Yeah,
new adventure. Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
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 And so that women can think of it, that's a great analogy, basically, right? I
Yeah.
mean, think of it like that, right? To purge your mind of the things that are
Hmm.
keeping you stuck. But
Hmm.
really, you have to kind of ask yourself the right questions, right? So it's kind of like, you remember when you first started learning how to drive a car? I drove a stick shift. That's how I learned. So I'm much older than you. But however, it was like I drove a VW Bug of all things, right? Up a hill. Like you got the clutch, you got the side mirror, you got the rear view mirror. You're like, your
Yeah.
dad's next to you and you're nervous and you don't want to do anything wrong. And, it's just in,
Yeah. Yeah, the
and then you can't
jerking,
even
yes,
see
I
in
know,
front of you,
she's driving,
you know,
uh-huh.
all that stuff. And now we literally can like get in the car, put our mascara on, our lipstick, do whatever we have to
Yes,
do. And we don't even know how we got where we got to. We get there and we're like, I don't remember driving here.
mhm,
It's called
yeah,
autopilot, right? There's
mhm,
so many things that we do on autopilot we don't even think about,
yeah,
right? And so just to take a pause to really be present with yourself.
mhm.
And the purging thing is a beautiful example to like just take a moment to just clean out some clutter.
Yeah, and I think for some, it's just such a big task. I'm thinking of someone specifically in my life who's always like, "Oh, I need to clean this out. I need to clean that out." And my fantasy is like, "I'm gonna come over with a giant dumpster and I'll clean it out for you.
Yeah.
Don't worry." But ultimately, that would be doing somebody else's emotional work, right?
Well, you don't
And
want to do it for them. You want to
yeah,
bring love and
be with
support,
them.
right? So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all. Like, how about if I just come over and, like, you could just talk me through the things that you do or you don't want to get rid of.
yeah.
And if
Perfect.
you only get rid of one thing, then we get rid of one thing, right?
Mhm, mhm. I
I mean,
love
because
it.
it's their journey. We just
Mhm.
need to be seen, heard, and held. That's all.
I fully agree. Yeah, as you said, many of us, all of us, have our own wisdom, right? It's just actually being taught to listen to our inner voice and to trust it, and stop seeking outward that validation. Just having the support. And I think as I've gone on my healing journey, where I used to look for external support, and I still need it from time to time. Of course, we're always learning. But for the most part, what I need from my support system is really just to be witnessed in what I'm sharing,
Hmm.
right? And it feels really good. I'm like, I trust myself. I just want to share this with you,
Yeah.
and it's really helpful. It kind of leads me into um, more questions around like inner clarity. And I'm just curious, what would the world look like for you if women, all women, were leading from a secure place of inner clarity rather than external pressure?
Wow. So we would rule the world for sure. That song,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's a Beyonce song or
yeah.
something, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because I think that men,
Mhm.
they compartmentalize everything and they just run, you know. But women have this wisdom and this intuition and this emotional beingness about ourselves that we really see things. If we really stop for a moment, we really do have great clarity on
Mm.
how things work and don't work. And I mean, we have so many things that we do, the counselor, the therapist, the mother, the wife, so many
Mhm.
roles, right?
Mhm.
That we can juggle. I think the
Yeah.
more clarity we can get on who we are, we all have something to contribute. Um, and so for me, you know, as a little girl, that was the second in line between two boys. Um, I don't think that, no, nothing against my parents, but I remember feeling alone a lot, right? And like just always doing, and
Mm.
just doing things alone a lot. And I don't remember anybody really asking me how I was. I think I just wanted someone to
Mm.
check in on me, right?
Yeah.
Just to see how
Mhm.
I was. And what I realized was because I became so independent, right? Going out into the adult world, I just stayed with that independence to where, there wasn't a lot of space for people to come into my life because I just did everything
Mhm.
because that's just how I played life.
Yeah.
And, I think it got to a point where I did my own work that I really, really needed someone just to check in with me. I really needed that part of me that needed to heal just for somebody just to see me and hear me and just hold me, basically. But I
Yeah.
wasn't allowing anybody to have that space with me because I was
Mhm.
just so independent, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I was able to really heal that and really do that for myself and find, people that could really check in on me, and I allowed that space and they allowed the space, a safe space for me. Like that's really when I came into my own true essence of who I was.
Mm.
And because I learned that, I feel that, I'm able to bring this work forward for other women. I think all women, if all women looked back at their lives, we all have things to bring forward to other women. That's why it's so key to have a community of people, that we can really sit with each other and learn from each other and then take that in the world and help other people. I feel like once you have wisdom, you have a responsibility to pass it down
Oh,
and pay it
yes.
forward, which
Yes,
is what
absolutely.
you're doing with your podcast, right? It's so critical because it's just part of like what we need. Our husbands and our families just can't. They can't give us what we need anymore. They gave us what we need when we were there. Now everybody's gone on their own way. Now we need to find that community for ourselves. It's
Yeah.
so important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
important.
I came to this relatively recent revelation. And by recent, I mean this year. And it was in the search for a partnership, like romantic partnership. Um, and then just feeling into my sisterhoods with the women in my lives. And what I realized is while I can have a super deep, and I have that now, connection with someone, who's a male, there's nothing like female friendship and companionship and the bonds between womb holders. There's
Mm,
just something deeply there. And I have some sisters that, like soul sisters, I'm deeply womb connected to. And I feel it's like unspokenness sometimes. And I feel like our culture has lost a lot of that.
mm.
And I can't speak for men, but I feel like there's something in that realm too, where there's just this disconnect of the connection of our our genders and the wisdom of being in the different archetypes as you grow older, and like having our elder women really being looked up to and truly learned from and held in a place of reverence. Um, and I do feel like there's a shift in the consciousness of women and women coming back together and more circles being formed, and kind of the preaching on these topics and coming back. But for the women who don't have that type of connection, what are some steps that you would recommend for them to begin to cultivate the relationships they already have, or to find a new community that is going to allow them to lean into deeper connection?
Yeah. So I've had women that have sought out communities that they thought were safe spaces for them, and they haven't been.
Mm,
Um, so, I mean, I think you have to be really authentic and vulnerable with the people that are in your spaces and see who really is going to stick around and who's not.
mm,
And go with your intuition and your gut, right? I mean,
yeah.
it is so important. I mean, I've been to many Bible studies and I just, I was there just to be there, but I never like really felt a connection, which was really sad for me. But I'm like, okay, well, it's not my place. They're not my people. I mean, I think we really know when there are people or when they're not our people, right?
Yes.
And so I think you just got to keep searching. I mean, because the
Hmm.
women are out there. But then you really have, I think most women are scared to speak up,
Uh,
being embarrassed, not saying the right thing, for whatever many reasons. They've been told things that they brought forward. Just the fear comes into play again, right?
yeah.
And so I just want to, like, encourage women to really, really start speaking up. Like, just do it messy. Who cares? Just be you. Do it
Yes.
messy, because the women that really, your people really won't care. They'll do it
Yeah.
messy with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that, there's people that want to play it perfect, and I'm like, you're missing so much when you just want to keep yourself locked into this, you know, perfect patty or perfect whatever whoever you want to call, or like, life's not perfect. It's messy. It just is. And so
Yeah.
I think that's where the authenticity and the vulnerability comes out, right? And we can really be intimate, in a friendship kind of way, where we can really, like, let people see us, the true people, the messy parts of us, right? We don't have it all figured out. That's the beauty about being a woman, actually, right? Like, we're not going to get it all right. We're just not. So if people can just let people be who they are without any, like, judgment, I think that's the most difficult thing for women, is the judgment, just in society as a whole, about
Sure.
having to look right, and not go to the grocery store without makeup on, whatever it is for whoever. um
Mm-hmm.
I think if we could just, like, just do it unpredictable, just do something, just do it and share.
Yeah. 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 I fully agree with you. And as my spiritual beliefs have expanded, evolved, grown, my perspective of what true femininity is has shifted radically. And
Mm.
this cookie cutter, perfect, um, pristine, pure, like organized, girl next door, but
what
also
what
sex in,
what
all
era
these,
was that?
yeah, right. All of these different ways, right? And I'm sure you've seen like there's many different videos that kind of show how contradictory it all is.
Yeah.
What I've kind of landed on is like, uh, is for me, the feminine is everything. It is like the raw chaos that is life. And if we can embrace all of it, then we can naturally embody all those different types of archetypes when it's the right time. And we don't have to put on a mask of, well, right now I need to step into performing in this particular role because this is what this particular event calls for. You can just say, no, for me, this is what needs to be authentically expressed right now. So you can go to the grocery store dressed in a ball gown, or you can go dressed in like a
Yeah.
ratty whatever. It doesn't matter. That's like just the authentic expression of yourself, and then hands over the permission slip for others to express in what feels like the most authentic way for them at the time. And it's been radically freeing for me to step into that and almost have a like a screw it. Well, I do have a like a screw it mentality. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
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 and
yeah, yeah.
sometimes you have to say no to things, like you were
Hmm.
saying. You don't have to do everything for everybody or be on the performance track, right? It's actually saying no opens up other possibilities, right? Like, you don't even know what it opens up, the expansion that happens when you say no to things, right? And I wanted to just, I remember a time, during my divorce, when I got divorced, I had three small children. They were like a newborn, 4 year old, and 8 year old. Um, and I was so upset. I remember somebody driving me home, and I was so upset, and I was crying, and I couldn't stop crying. And I kept telling myself, I can't go in the house until I have it together, because I don't want to have my kids see me like this, right? And so my friend was nice enough to drive me around the block again. I'm like, I still can't go. And she goes, I'm going to drive one more time. She drove me around the block again. She came back and she goes, okay, now you need to go inside. I said, because your kids need to see you not all put together. Like, they
Yeah.
need to see you upset. They need to see you emotional. Because if they don't, then they will never have permission to do that. You're going to give them permission to be able to also be emotional when things don't go right, when they get hurt, when they have fears, right? And then they'll come to you. It was the best advice I ever got. And, like, it was 22 years ago. And my children and I have a great relationship. They come to me for almost everything, which, some things I don't want to know, but I listen anyway, right?
Good.
But yeah, it opened up a different possibility. So I just like, instead of hiding behind and trying to be this strong, woman, right, and have it all together and do all the things for everybody, um, because you don't want to disappoint someone or whatever it is, um, just be you. Just do it
Mm,
messy.
yeah.
Like, just
Yeah.
do it messy,
Yeah.
right?
For
It gives
those
other
women
people
who
permission to be messy too.
absolutely, absolutely. And there's a difference that I think we can touch on here. There's a difference between being messy and like expressive of your emotions and
Hmm.
then just mindlessly emotionally dumping and creating chaos for the world around you. Right. And sometimes it takes doing the emotional dumping and being chaotic and like just spilling everywhere to realize, oh, okay, that's one way of expressing, but then there's another avenue to be fully in my emotions, in my state, and it doesn't have to be so impactful for others in a negative way. And I think I'm not a parent, but I had a mom who's pretty amazing, and witnessing the way she navigated her emotions
Mm,
did set a blueprint for me of it's okay, like you with your children. It's okay to be in challenge. It's okay to be in pain, and it's okay to talk about it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because we don't talk about it and we just stuff it. And
yeah,
it's not serving us, right?
yeah,
You have to
yeah,
get it out.
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So find a safe space to get it out,
Yeah.
you know.
And the ladies who are listening to this and they're looking to create more opportunities for spaciousness, for a pause in their life, and they may not know how to do that. What are some little ways that they can start to satiate that desire to have a little bit of time to go inward and explore that might initially feel like they're taking away a little bit from their family, but not too much, or whatever it is they've committed themselves to?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have one lady who actually, we started by just taking a 10-minute walk after dinner for herself, right? And after a while, the kids, would ask, "Can I go?" And she just explained to them, "Oh, this is mommy's 10 minutes. I just need 10 minutes to myself." And then after a while, they literally like just were very respectful to the 10 minutes. They would tell other
Mm,
people, "No, mom's going to go take her walk for 10 minutes," right? So
yeah.
it doesn't have to be this big thing, right? It could just be, anything. I know another lady who actually gets up in the middle of the night in darkness and goes in the kitchen and just takes, however much time for herself just to be, right, with her
Hmm.
emotions or whatever it is, right? So I think everyone has to find that space for themselves. Um, I know my biggest space is on an airplane
Oh,
because I
yes.
travel so much,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like everyone goes, "Well, what do you do on the airplane? Do you work?" I'm like, I don't do nothing. I have a 5-hour flight, right, from North Carolina to California. And literally, I do nothing. If I do anything, I do happy color on my phone, like
Yeah.
literally with my stylus. And then I just won't do anything, right? I just take a pause. I might be in my own thoughts. A lot of times I'm just like, thinking, about my kids and how my grandkids are growing up, whatever it is, right? Just taking a
Yeah.
moment to love the fact that I'm a grandmother, right?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm,
and what's next, right? Like I'm always like, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be amazing, whatever it is. And if
mhm.
something happens to me tomorrow, and let's just say I get in a car wreck, well then I'll heal, or it'll be whatever it's going to be. But for right now, I'm really free in whatever I want to create at this moment, and you know, I'm not holding back, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm not going to hold back anymore. I mean, I've worked for some real jerks, and I stayed in too long.
Yeah.
And finally, when I broke free, I took a 2-month pause a couple years ago, and I literally left my house for a week because I quit my job. And the next morning, I packed my car up. I went up to the mountains, rented a cabin on the creek, and I stayed there for a week. And there was no cell service, so nobody could get hold of me. And I was just like, I just don't want anybody calling me, asking me why, asking me what, asking me. I just needed to be by
Mhm,
myself. It was
mhm.
the best week ever. And then I came back and I like took it further, right? I just stayed in my house. I just did my stuff. I needed that time. So, I just think that women need to invest in themselves just to take time out for themselves. I always say it's kind of like how we take our cars to the mechanic for a tune up. Women need to go tune themselves up as well,
Yeah.
right? So just to find a retreat or something. I went to Sedona a few weeks ago and I was able to go rock climbing out with some friends, and it was amazing. I'd never done that before. And that was a 2 day pause that I took. So I take pauses all the time. They all look
Yes.
very different.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, even for just to take a ride to the beach, right? If you live close to the beach, just decide you're going to do that,
Uh-huh.
right? For
You can
yourself.
literally put it on your calendar.
Yes. Put it on your
Schedule it.
calendar
It's
and just
blocked off,
decide.
and then honor your calendar. I can't tell you how many times in my life I've broken my word to myself, and now one of my mantras is just
Whoa.
keep your word to yourself. And I
Yeah.
notice when I do that, and since I've been doing that, my life has radically shifted, and I feel much more centered and like honored inward. Like the me in me trust is filled with trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ladies, keep it on
Yeah.
your calendar. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the honor your word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you say it and you don't do it, I mean, how great do you feel?
Exactly. Exactly. We all know what that feels like to be let down by others when they don't keep their word. But I think we might identify it briefly with ourselves, but that's actually the biggest deal breaker is when you're breaking your own promises.
Right.
Yeah.
And the opportunities that come from just going to the beach, like
Yeah, of
wherever
course.
you're going, like you really
Mhm.
don't know what's going to happen, right? Just
Yeah.
there's so many opportunities.
Yep.
And why wouldn't you? It's pure possibility out there, right? So
Yes.
just like, yeah, I mean, I love that to honor your word. Like just make the time, even if it's just 30 minutes. You know, I changed my routine in the morning. It's been some time. And I have a little pup. She's not in here because she probably would have barked. But um, so, and I start my day. I get my coffee. I get my pup out. I read a little devotion. I read 10 pages in some book that I'm reading, and only 10 because it's about all I can absorb. Right? If I read too much, then I get my day gets turned off. And I literally start my day at 10. Like most people can't do that anymore. When I was a mom, I started my day at 6, right? So, but I'm very intentional about what I'm doing in that time so I can really be ready. I take
Hmm.
care of my emails, I take care of my texts, my telegrams, all the things I need to take care of. So then when I really start my day, I don't need to worry about all that. That's all done, right? And then I get to like focus on the things that really matter.
Yeah.
Um, and I make sure that I call my mom, I call my dad, I call the people that I really love, right? And I make sure I stay in connection with them. And I'll tell you, I have a lot of clients that I'm like, you're so busy. If why don't you just put on your calendar that you're going to call your mom every Friday at 3 o'clock,
Yeah.
and then just make sure you do it,
Yeah.
right?
It's a meeting with anyone else. It's just a meeting
Right.
with
It's
your
just
mom.
in there. It's
Yeah.
nothing gets in the way, or your wife, or whatever it is, right? But it's true. Time blocking is so key. I mean, my time blocking have very little time in between, but when I do get 15 minutes, it's
Hmm.
something impactful that I'm doing for me.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So
Hmm.
there's time.
Amazing.
People just have to make it. They just got to find it.
Exactly. And like television, right? We
Oh,
make time for television and shows or scrolling social or what have you. And once you become mindful of where you're placing a disconnected amount of your time, you might want to choose to do something a little different, like go for that
yeah.
walk or call that person or
Well, or
yeah.
tap into the things. I think when I was saying something about the lady who was doing her timeline, I think she remembered how much she loved to dance when she was
Mm.
younger. Loved to dance.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, when's the last time you danced? She's like, I
Hmm.
couldn't even tell you. And I'm like, well, I think you need to sign up for a dance class,
Absolutely.
right? And so that was one of the challenges I challenged her with. And she did. And oh my God, the joy. She's like, I totally forgot how much I love this and just the joy I get from
Hmm.
dancing.
Hmm.
So that's that little tiny thing, right?
Yeah.
So, in in coaching, it's always giving people little challenges. Now it doesn't feel comfortable, like, oh, what, I really can't do that. I remember when someone challenged me with something, I had pulled over the side of the road, I don't know how many times, and called him and cried on my way,
Oh,
right? It was
sure.
something really radical, but I totally get why he had me do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he just talked me through it. Every mile I got closer and closer, and he just talked me through it because that's what
Yeah.
I needed, right? To get past it. It was the best thing I ever did for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So just love and support and give people the container, just one baby step, one baby step, one baby step, and you'll
Beautiful.
get there.
Beautiful.
But
Mm,
we just
absolutely.
forget the things that we love because we've piled so much hurt, circumstances, so many accumulations of things, and then we lose ourselves.
Exactly. And that's the joy that comes through healing is like you do this hard work, you mine for these things that might be impacting you in your days day to day. And once you understand them, release them, what comes up is opportunities to step into joy, to step into play, to step
Oh,
into creative expression. And life is so much better that
absolutely.
way.
Absolutely. I love Wayne Dyer's a quote that he says, change the way you look at things and the way you look at things will change.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's so true. Like,
Hmm.
you know, and it's like if we have an idea of someone, I remember this woman I used to um I wanted to have a meeting with her and she decided that I was a mean person. She
Oh, okay.
decided that I was a mean person, right? So I'm like, what? I'm not mean at all, right? But something embittered because I asked her, we were in a mastermind and I asked her a question. And the question was, what's holding you back from like really blowing up, right? What's the one thing that's holding you back? And she got up from the meeting actually and she left and she said to me, she goes, I think that's way too personal. I'm not willing to share that. And I'm like, it was a business meeting. I'm like, but somehow she took that as me
Sure.
inappropriate to ask her the question in front of other people because she went to a personal space where we were talking about business, right? So
Yeah.
it could have been prospecting, it could have been phone calls, it could have been whatever it could have been, right? So she decided in that moment in time that I was a very mean person. And so, once someone puts that label on you, they will find all kinds of evidence, no matter what you do, for you to be a mean person, right? So, I always am like, I'm just really careful that I really don't know who people are and I don't know what's going on with them, right? And I never feel like it's something personal towards me. Like,
Hmm.
all human beings are reactionary beings, right? And we all have constraints and prisons. But it doesn't mean it's mine or I want to take that on, right? And like people need to be free to live however
Hmm.
they want to live their life. And so now what I do is like even like people in my family, right? Like I've had real problems with some of their behaviors. But when I look back and I go, you know what? I really don't know where that came from. And so I can really release them and just see them from a love standpoint and support.
Hmm.
And I'm like, they can behave however they want, but I'm not going to react to that, right? I'm going to
Of
let
course.
them be and I'm just going to go about my day. I may shorten the time that I spend with them, which I have done. Like it's
Yeah.
gone from like a day to 4 hours. Like, okay, that was too much. Now 3 hours. I can do an hour and a half. I can do lunch, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But that's for me because the energy, right? Like I have, good energy, bad energy, right? I'm not willing to stay in this energy for that long of time. So,
Hmm.
so just to really be conscious of like, who you're spending your time with, making sure you have safe spaces to be our authentic self and vulnerable, right? Um, and just you find that clarity in who you really are. Like,
Yeah.
just take some risks. Just go out there and like, it's like, people are always trying on clothes. Well, this doesn't work, but this works. Well, then why are we not doing that in life?
Mm, beautiful. Absolutely. Hmm.
Right?
Hmm. Magnificent. Well, Karen, if you could go back in time and give a younger you some words of wisdom, to what age would you go and what would you say?
Oh, wow. My younger me. um, I, well, leaving the house at 18, in my generation, you got pots and pans and a cutting board and told to leave and you had to figure it out. Um, I would have sought a mentor out for sure. I would have sought older women out that kind of like wrapped their arms around me and told me, we're going to get through this. I'm going to help you get through this.
Mm,
I just don't think we should do life alone.
yeah.
And, feeling alone a lot of the times, I think that would have changed my life. I think, um, at the time, I needed somebody to put their arm around me and just say, I'm just going to hold you
Yeah.
until, you know,
Yeah.
it's gonna be okay.
Mhm.
You know, I always say, everything that happened in my life happened for a reason because I believe, I'm a praying woman, but I believe that, the universe gives us is working for us. And then everything that has happened in our life is happening for us. And so um, to take that and bring it forward to the world. So that's definitely what I would have done. I would have found a group of women. I would have found somebody and keep looking until you find your person.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, it seems like you're definitely in your purpose now. You're giving back to others and helping them step forward and creating that space for women. And I appreciate you so
Well, I
much.
appreciate you and everything you're doing. Thank you
Yeah.
for this
Thank you.
amazing podcast that you've been doing for so long.
Thank you. You're welcome. Well, Karen, as we close out, I invite you to share where the listeners can find you and your work and ways to work with you.
Yeah, they can find me just on Instagram at Karen Bartholomew. It's just my name. Um, and on Facebook as well. I have in my bio, there's a link. There's some freebies in there. You can get my free journal in there for 30 days, which will really help, like to start unraveling like some dreams and aspirations and things that you want to design for the next chapter in your life. We also have an intentional life course that goes for 90 days with a group of women, and also have a retreat coming in Sonoma, California at the end of June that's in there. And there's an early bird special going on, and it's going to be for 2.5 days, and it's going to be amazing. We're having a
Yeah.
happy hour where it's a safe space for 15 women, some breath work in the morning, some mindset work, and some really exploration exercises on Sunday. So it's going to be a great 3 days. And so, yeah, they can find all that on my Instagram.
All right. Amazing. Well, Karen Bartholomew, thank you for being on Her Drive.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. And thanks everyone for tuning in to this episode of Her Drive. As always, I invite you to share this with anyone whose heart and head could really soak up the nutrients of Karen's wisdom. And as always, feel free to leave a review. That helps others know that this is a show worth their time and investment when they're taking a pause or moving through their busy lives. Thanks so much. Love you all.